Hello everyone, welcome to UCR. My name is Jenny Shin. I am International Student Advisor. My main focus is to assist you with your check-in documents and your I-20, any immigration related issues or any of the issues that you might have that I can help you. Nice to meeting you all.
Okay, and Jesse?
Hello, I am Jessie from the Strategic Initiatives and International Recruitment Office. Most of you have probably been in contact with me already, hopefully. I am the one that issues your initial I-20s, so it's great to have you here.
Great. So this is wonderful. You get to meet the whole ISS team. You probably recognize some of our names because you've been exchanging emails with us, or you see our names on your I-20s. So it's good to put a face with the name so you know who we are. Just so that you know, we're here to serve you. We're here to make your transition as you come to study at UCR as smooth and as painless as possible. We want to do everything to help you because our goal is for you to be successful when you're here studying at UCR. There's some general information about our office. Normally, we would be in our office from Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. But because we're working remotely for the time being, we're not in our office, we're in our home offices and we're working virtually. So we're still available to assist you Mondays through Fridays between 8 and 5. There are various ways to contact us. Let's go back to the previous slide, please. Thank you. There are various ways to contact us. The best is with our email. It looks like it's a long email address, but it isn't. It's international students, written as one word. That's what you are, international students at ucr.edu. That's the absolute best way to get in touch with us. If you call on the general phone, please leave a voice message that will be transcribed into an email and sent to us, but it's still faster if you send us directly an email. And if you have a real emergency and you need to speak to someone, then you can call the number that's listed there. If you haven't had a chance, make sure that you take a look at our website at international.ucr.edu. Okay, thank you.
All right, so this is the agenda that we're gonna talk about tonight. So first of all, it's about the ISS office that we just covered, and we're gonna give you the campus information and academic advising and placement tests, UCR departments that you should know, immunization and insurance requirements, and housing options, immigration visa and travel documents, transportation options in around UCR, and orientation, and lastly Q&A.
Right. And you probably have seen that there are other panelists on here. I'm not ignoring them. They're an important part of this presentation this evening. I thought maybe they could introduce themselves when it's their turn to speak, and then you'll know exactly who they are.
All right, so I'm going to talk about a little services that we offer from our office. What we do as an advisor, we talk to you about your immigration status, anything related with your immigration, F1 visa, and any concerns that you have. We also do some personal advising and support. If you have any culture adjustment, feeling homesick, you can also feel free to contact our office and we'll help you and guide you through this process. You're not alone. We also process any work authorization, employment, permission that we international students can do. And any travel requirements, documents, any requests, you can send it to our way. We'll help you and guide you through it. Some programs that we have from our office, we have peer mentorship programs. We have one for undergrad and one for graduate students, where we pair you and a mentor during your first year to help you and guide you transition to UCR. We have a program, I'm sorry, it automatically goes to the next slide. We have language circles. We offer 6 different languages where you can participate if you want to moderate a language to teach other students or staff member or faculty, whoever wants to join, about the language that you speak. We also have public speaking classes that we offer to our international students. And we celebrate culture celebration and the major holidays such as Halloween, Valentine's Day, and other culture events.
I don't know if any of you have noticed in the news here in the United States, but we have a brand new federal holiday that starts tomorrow called Juneteenth. So that's a really exciting. It celebrates the day of the emancipation of slaves after the end of the Civil War. So this is a really important step forward in our country. So we have a new holiday, and it's not on any calendars yet.
Yep. And we have International Education Week. We celebrate this week nationally in November. During that time, we're on campus. We celebrate a whole week. We do all sorts of celebration and do a lot of freebies during that week. So keep an eye on our newsletter. We have a support group for international women. It's a safe place for women to express and hang out and have free massages during that time, which Jenny's in charge of that program. We also have town halls during this time, so we can address any updated regulations or any questions that we can answer to current and new students. And we have orientation for new students every year. And we have specific workshops such as work authorization workshops to the international students or any kind of workshops that we think that may be helpful to the international students. And all these programs are from our office. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me.
Okay, I think Kelly, you and I are supposed to do this next one, the important campus information. Do you want to start or do you want me to start?
You can go ahead, Michael.
Okay, so remote operations and COVID updates. I know this is the kinds of questions that everybody's asking right now. But right now we have remote operations, and what that means is that the university, while it's still open, the people that work at the university are not on the campus in their offices. They're working remotely from their homes. So the way we've been communicating with students is by email, by Zoom presentations, by telephone calls and things like that. And we're going to continue that way until the fall. And in the fall, the university is reopening, and you'll often hear people talk about return to campus. And when you hear return to campus, that's what that means. It means that we're opening up the campus again so people can come back. A lot of classes are going to be offered on campus. Some will still be available online or as a hybrid option. You'll see on the slide there that there's a link to campusreturn.ucr.edu. This is a wonderful resource. It will answer practically any question you have about what it's going to look like in the fall. And it also has a special area there for parents. So if your parents are curious about how it's going to look in the fall, have them go to that website as well. We do have links on COVID-19. As things stand right now, things are getting better in California. People are getting vaccinated. The situation is improving. So it's always a good idea to take a look at the CDC website and the link that's provided in this PowerPoint about what's going on with COVID-19. But if you go to Return to Campus there, or campusreturn.ucr.edu, there's also information about the COVID-19 situation. The university is also providing a series of presentations by what we call working groups that are talking about specific issues that are related to the return to campus. One of them has to do with student services. What's that going to look like when the students come in the fall? And that's a committee I'm on. They have instructional continuity and quite a few other ones. So if you have a chance and would like to hear what the university is thinking, what the administration is thinking, you can click on that and there you can sit through these briefings. They're only an hour, but they're very informative. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, Kelly, I think this is you.
Yes, I know that there were a lot of questions that some of you submitted with regards to your academics and academic advising. And I'm going to give you some general information about academic advising here today, and then refer you back to your departments and orientation programs for the more detailed questions that came in. So for those of you who are graduate students, usually what you'll do is you'll reach out to your graduate department to actually get information about enrolling for classes. The departments work differently sometimes in how they enroll you in those courses. So reaching out to your department and your program coordinator in your area of study is really the best thing to do. And if you have questions about who that might be, please feel free to email us at internationalstudents@ucr.edu or email the contact that you already have in your department. Those of you who are undergraduate students who are here, you're going to enroll in your coursework during the Highlander Orientation Program that for first year freshmen starts really soon in July. So if you have not yet signed up for that Highlander orientation, which is offered completely remotely, you need to go and do that via the link that you see there on the screen so that you can attend the orientation program. And that's where you will get assistance in signing up for your classes from your academic advisors. Those of you who are EAP Reciprocity Exchange students, I've communicated with a handful of you about enrolling for courses. Your advisors are going to reach out to you. And I've also put some information on the next slide about some general information for academic advisors. If you could go to the next slide, Lisa. Okay, so for undergraduate students, here are some links to different places where you'll be able to find how to get in contact with your specific academic advisor. As you can see, we have a lot of different colleges at the University of California, Riverside, and you'll hear us talking in acronyms a lot. So when people say CHASS, C-H-A-S-S, they're often referring to the colleges of humanities and social sciences. And when people say College of Engineering, they're referring to the College of Engineering. We also have a School of Business on campus, as well as a College of Natural and Agricultural Sciences, a School of Public Policy, and a School of Education. For those of you who are graduate students, we also have the A. Gary Anderson School of Management. And there are, so just wanted to let you know so you can get used to all those acronyms that you might start to hear as you get more and more familiar with UCR. And I wanted to be able to provide you with different links so you could see how to reach your academic advisors in case you need to do so. And again, academic advisors are a little different than us. We're international student advisors. So the academic advisors are going to be the ones who are going to be helping you with course enrollment and what type of courses that you need to enroll in. All right. Next slide, Lisa. Okay. So I wanted just to give you all a reminder, those of you who are undergraduates, most of you may be required to take an analytical writing placement exam. You can learn more about the exam via the link that is in the slide, and you'll all receive copies of this PowerPoint presentation. But you have to pay for the exam by visiting the analytical writing program, and we call that AWPE, and you have to register for the exam. And if you have questions about that exam in particular, you should email Sheena Thrush, and her email address is there on the screen. We recommend that you try to take that placement exam before your Highlander orientation session that you're signed up for over the summer, if at all possible. That way, they'll understand, how to place you in any English language courses if they're going to be needed at the time. Those of you who are EAP reciprocity students, if you're planning on taking a lot of English courses while you're here at UCR, you might want to connect with Sheena and your academic advisor to see if it's going to be helpful for you to take that placement test. All right, next slide. Okay, so the math advisory exam for undergraduates is also an online exam, and a lot of you can learn more about the exam via that link. And most freshman majors that require math have to take that exam. and you can consult with your academic advisor. If you need to take the test, you can ask any questions about the test to that email address. It's at the bottom of the screen. They really want everyone to try and take this test before July 7th, if at all possible. So if you've not yet signed up for it, please go ahead and do so. You've probably been getting communications from the math testing group and your academic advisors, and possibly in your My UCR portal about this test as well. All right. Now I am actually going to turn control over this presentation to our UCR Student Health Services team, who are here to talk to you about immunizations and health insurance. Deborah, did you want to start out?
Sure, I'll introduce myself and then I'll introduce Tanya and Danielle. My name is Deborah Sellis. I am currently the interim immunization compliance coordinator for the UC mandate. I also am the quality and compliance specialist for student health services. Tanya, did you want to go ahead and Tanya?
Hi, sorry, it got cut out a little bit. Hi, my name is Tanya. I'm the immunization nurse for the immunization mandate at UCR. Some of you might have gotten secure messages from me about immunizations, so I might have helped some of you. But thank you for letting me join, and I'll be happy to answer any questions you guys have.
And I don't see Danielle on the webinar. She actually runs our insurance department right now with questions. So I'll be reaching out to her shortly to see if she's going to join. But we are here to answer any of your immunization questions. The UCR Student Health Services, you can see that we have a general email at health.ucr.edu. Again, this is for general information about student health services. We do have individual ways for each one of our departments so that you can reach us. For questions about immunizations, this was updated. Email is for only guests and students who do not have a login for their patient portal. All immunization questions should now be going through, as you can see at the bottom, you should be submitting your immunization questions and comments through the patient portal. You're going to choose messages, create new message, and choose the immunization mandate staff. The reason for this is that we and students are uploading personal health information regarding immunizations, and email is not what we call HIPAA compliant. It's another acronym, but it's something that we use to protect your personal health information here in the US. And so we have an ask the students to log into your patient portal. I know many of you have. Tanya and I have answered hundreds of messages over the last couple of months regarding your immunization compliance. And so I know that a lot of you all are already using that, but please do not duplicate your answers over into an email. It's not secure. So we are going to minimize the email, and we want to maximize you using your patient portal for communications regarding your immunization questions. Tanya? Do you have anything to add, Tanya?
No, I don't have anything to add. That was good enough. Thank you.
And we do have our website that I wanted to note, and we do have UCR phone number for appointments, but our website, I'd ask you to visit our website at https://studenthealth.ucr.edu. It has many, many questions that we already got answered or submitted through our patient portal. So we would ask that you go look at our patient portal, and also look at our website. and see if there's frequently asked questions, and take a look at the immunizations. It does have all of the requirements on the website. It has helpful tutorial videos for you to look at so that you can download, upload, and helpful information that you might need. I think is there a next slide? I think we're ready to go to next slide. Okay. And then, as I was stating, immunization requirements. The UC does have requirements and immunization. As most of you know, you've been submitting messages to get extensions because many of you were not able to come to the US due to COVID, and we understand that. So we will allow extensions until you come to the United States. You just need to send us a secure message in your patient portal. We don't know if you need help until you reach out. So we're asking you to send a message to us so that we can take a look at your individual account and we can extend that for you. We will ask you when your expected date is that you're going to be coming to the US and to campus so that we can extend it for a period of time. I know that some of you experienced holds in your accounts, in your RWeb accounts for registration. And that is a requirement because we have to meet all immunization requirements prior to accessing campus. So you will experience holds and we're here to help. So that's when you reach out to us through your patient portal so that we can take a look and get those extensions in for you. And we're here to help you. Instructions are, again, you've been very good about this, but we have received some emailed documentation through the email, which again is not secure. So we ask that all immunization paperwork be uploaded through your patient portal. There is a very short 1-minute tutorial on how to do that on our website. And if you have further questions, again, we are asking not to use the immunization UCR. That would be for students, again, that do not have any portal access. If you have portal access, we were going to go use your message, new message, and send a message to the immunization mandate staff so we can take care of you. And I don't know if we have any other slides. And the next one would be the COVID, yes. And I'm not sure to speak to this. I'm not sure who's going to take this slide.
That's me.
Okay, good, Jenny.
Thank you, Deborah. So there's a good news for international students. Some airports will provide COVID-19 vaccines. And it does not seem that an appointment is needed. You don't need to make an appointment or insurance is required. So no appointment and no insurance that you need to have. For more detail of the information, you can click this link here. So it looks like we have information that will provide from LAX. It's the Los Angeles International Airport. And SNA is Orange County, Santa Ana Airport, and SFO is San Francisco one.
And so we're still waiting for Danielle. So let's just go over some very general information for the health insurance. There are some links on the screen that will give you information about the health insurance here at UCR. And Deborah and Tanya, please step in if needed. All of you will be automatically enrolled in UCR's health insurance unless you agree to waive out of it, and you have to waive out with better equal coverage by the stated deadline. There is a general email address where you can send questions about the health insurance, and then there's 2 links that we've provided here on information for undergraduate students and information for graduate students. And we'll circle back to Danielle if she's able to join us later on. Here are some of the pre-submitted questions with regards to health services and immunizations. Deborah, did you or Tanya want to address some of these questions in general?
Yeah, Tanya is going to take some of these questions.
Okay, great. All right. So the first question is, I'm from India and have taken the Covishield vaccine, which is an AstraZeneca formula-based WHO approved vaccine that is being manufactured in India under this name. This is the only vaccine available in India that is approved by the WHO, the World Health Organization. I believe it's not yet approved in the United States and it's under clinical trials. Will this affect my travel from India to the US, or will I need to take another vaccine of COVID-19 after I arrive in the United States?
So I don't believe this should affect her travel. I can't speak for her actually arriving to the US, but in terms of the COVID vaccination and being on campus, the COVID vaccine is currently not a requirement. Some of you might have heard of the tentative policy from UCOP regarding making the COVID vaccine a part of the immunization mandate. That is still tentative. However, we are just preparing for the case that it does become a requirement. If this person does happen to have that record, they can submit it. We do have a list from the WHO of approved COVID vaccinations, so we'd be happy to just review it and discuss and see if she would need to have another vaccination for COVID if necessary.
So Tanya and Deborah, should that person kind of submit this question through the secure portal on immunizations?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
They should.
Mhm. Right. Thank you. So the second question, is there any home quarantine rule currently in California after arrival from abroad?
This
I'm not quite sure about. Deb, are you familiar with this
Yeah,
one?
actually, there's no, as far as I am concerned, I don't know about travel abroad situations. I know that we don't have any personal home quarantine rules right now currently in California. We actually on June 15th just our governor just released in the state of California, and we opened back up again. So, but I'm not sure about the travel abroad. Maybe someone else from the international team can speak to that.
Sure. Generally, there aren't many requirements. You will be in contact with your airline and the airport where you're going to arrive, and they'll inform you of any requirements that you need to know about, as you arrive in the United States. And it also depends on where you enter the US as well, but generally there's not that type of requirement right now. We don't really have quarantine hotels like you do in many countries overseas. So that is also something that we want to let you know. Typically, it's if you are required to quarantine, you would go actually to your home or where you're staying in quarantine. And if you're living in UCR housing, maybe that's something that Emily can address when we talk about our housing information. Okay.
Thank you, Kelly.
Yes. And the next question is, do I need to submit the TB and other immunization information even if I've been in the US for the last 5 years?
Yes. So all incoming students do have to complete and submit their immunization information, regardless of being in the US for the last 5 years. TB is just is not required of all students. It really depends on the TB screening form. So if you actually see that you need TB testing under your medical clearances, then yes, you do need to complete and submit a new TB test. TB tests completed more than 12 months ago will not be accepted. So if you completed one in 2018, that will not be accepted. If you've already been in your patient portal, you'll probably notice in the drop-down menu for the TB testing option, there are a few tests there. You do not have to complete all of them. There are different kinds of TB tests. A couple of them are blood tests, the quantiferin and the T-spot, and then the TB skin test. The chest X-ray is only necessary if your doctor orders orders a chest X-ray after your TB testing. Otherwise, the TB, you just have to complete one of the TB tests. You do not have to complete and submit for each one. Hopefully that answers that person's question. Otherwise, if you guys have more questions about TB, of course, you can send us a secure message in the patient portal if you need a little more detail.
Great. And the next question is, can I have my required vaccines from the USA after arriving there? Yes, that is possible. And if so, will it be included in the student health insurance package?
Yes, so vaccinations can be received in the US. We do let students know that if you've exhausted all of your options, so you have talked to your medical provider for your historical immunization records, you've gone to your previous school, because I'm not sure how it works for other countries, but usually in the US, they require immunization records. So if you've gone to your previous school and they don't have your records, and then if this is available to you, your parents or guardian don't have your immunization records, then of course you can go and get your vaccinations in the US. It's just, you know, you would have to go out and get them again, as opposed to if you already have them, you can just submit what you have already. With it being part of the student health insurance package, if you did not waive out of SHIP, which is the school insurance, then yes, your visit plus the vaccinations would be covered. However, if you are still an admitted student, you cannot use SHIP until you are an actual active registered student. So your first attendance date is the start of your coverage.
Actually, for those students who are new students starting in the fall, who are F and J, the insurance coverage does start early for them on September 13th. We've arranged that
that's
with the
awesome.
health insurance office.
Oh, that's great. Then September 13th.
Kelly, I think that you skipped over question 4.
Oh, great. Yes. How and where do I submit the immunization and vaccine documents?
That is a great question. So on our immunization website, Deb actually created a few videos on how students would be able to navigate their patient portal, how to submit, what records we're looking for, and just also planning. How to prepare all your vaccinations before submitting them all. So you can actually find these videos plus a PowerPoint on how to navigate the patient portal on our website. Again, this is found on our student health website. You would have to click on the immunizations tab, and then there should be there should be a little drop-down menu, and the second one that says how to submit. If you click on that one, you should see a few videos there on how to navigate the patient portal and where to submit the immunization documents.
Okay. And question number 6 is, if I cannot receive my second boost of COVID-19 vaccine before the term begins, would I be allowed to enter the school?
So I think this does tie in with the fact that COVID is not required at this time, so you would still be able to enter. Of course, from now until actual fall quarter begins, there could be a change to that upcoming policy. They could make it mandated by at that time. So this is something at this time I can tell you, you would still be able to enter UCR.
Yeah, my understanding, and correct me if I'm wrong, Michael and others, is that even if they do require the COVID-19 vaccine, which is pretty likely that that's going to happen as of around in July, then if you don't have the vaccine, you still be allowed on campus. You just have to go through some other protocols as well in terms of testing and getting the vaccine and things like that. And if you're living in the residence halls or campus apartments, you know, there might be some more specific additional things that you'll be able to do. And so once we have that information, the campus will roll that information out to you. Earlier in the presentation, Michael talked about some return to campus videos. And if you watch the one on COVID management, that one's pretty helpful. So I recommend that you guys, if you haven't done so already, that you take the time to do that.
Kelly, may I just add, if you go to that website and go to the COVID-19 section, you'll see there's a link there for FAQs, or frequently asked questions. And a lot of these kinds of questions you see here are there, and you can see the university answer as things stand right now.
Thanks, Michael. If you could send that in the chat to everyone when you have a chance, that would be great. Okay. All right, so the last question in here is, how can we enroll our dependents in the health insurance? So that's a great question. There is a way to do that. Deborah or Tanya, are you familiar with that at all? No? Okay, so
I'm sorry.
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I know that we do have a health insurance tab on the website, and I'm pretty sure that question is answered under the website.
Yeah, it is on there. So I'll go ahead and look for the link and then post that in the chat so that you can all see it. You just have to separately request that. And if you email, health@ucr.edu, they will also direct you in the right direction. So you can enroll your dependents in the health insurance if you want. There will be a fee for that. Okay. All right. Okay. Now we wanted to take some time to see if you guys have any questions related specifically to immunizations or health insurance that weren't addressed. Let's see. So I think there's one anonymous attendee that says, students vaccinated with Covaxin, what would you do about the vaccination, and will that be a problem? I think we did address some of that information. We will send out the PowerPoint slides, and I'll make sure we get the cost of health insurance and the website link to all of you. And there's some more specific questions, I believe, that perhaps the immunization team can work on answering privately. Okay. And there's a question about the TB test. I believe Tanya did answer some of that information, right, Tanya, about the TB skin test, the T-spot blood test. Yes, Tanya did answer that information as well. So I think that's been answered. All right. Okay. Next slide, please. Emily, would you like to do the honors?
Sure. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, everyone, for being here. We're so very excited to be able to speak with you and answer any questions that you may have. I'm going to quickly go through the slides because I know your questions about housing are really important, and we want to be able to get to those questions. So if I can have the next slide, please. We have several different types of housing options that are available. We have our residence halls, which are on campus. It's mostly freshmen, but we do allow returners or continuing students to stay with us in the residence halls. There are a lot of times that our students very much enjoy the connections that they make in the residence halls and just want to stay. So we'd like to allow them to do that. We also have our on-campus apartments. There are several different types of apartments, and I'll kind of go through that also. And then we have off campus. Our surrounding area, there are a lot of apartment communities that we kind of keep an eye on and just make sure that you know what options are available for you. So on our website, which is housing.ucr.edu, you will also be able to find a link for off-campus housing. Thank you. So here you'll see the different types of residence halls. We have Aberdeen Inverness. We also like to use a lot of acronyms, so we call this AI. It's a long traditional hall, whereas Pentland is a suite style. If you notice, the buildings are a little bit different. So these are more smaller contained spaces with about 3 to 4 rooms, whereas a long traditional hall, you could have up to 54 students on a hall. So you're able to network with a lot more people than you would in a Pentland Hills suite style. Lothian, it's also that long traditional hall, and you would share that hall with a lot of different students, letting you network and get to know a lot of different people. Now, Dundee is our newest residence hall. We just opened last year. Even though the pandemic was going on, we were open, and we had students who just wanted to be here, our students who couldn't go home. They were international students that needed to stay with us because they couldn't go home, or students who were children of essential workers that just needed to be here, and we wanted to be here for them. So Dundee opened up, and the students have really enjoyed staying there. It's our newest, like I said, our newest building, but we're proud of all of our buildings. Each one offers a different feel to it. So I would go to the website, like I said, housing.ucr.edu. There are 360 tours of the buildings. You can go through study lounges, you can go through rooms, just so you can get a feel for the different types of housing that we offer in the residence halls. Next slide, please. Thank you, Lisa. Our on-campus apartments, we offer several different communities. There's Bannockburn Village, Falkirk, Glenmore, a brand new building that's opening up for fall 2021, which is why there's no early arrival, but North District will be opening, and that's another 1,500 bed spaces for us. The Plaza, and also Stonehaven. So overall, our apartments will offer more than 2,700 bed spaces, while in our residence halls, we're now offering close to 4,000 bed spaces. So we're very excited about the new buildings that we were able to add, so we could try to take care of more of our wait list. Thank you. North District offers the continuing students, transfer students, and graduate students. These are 1 and 2 bedroom apartments with single or double occupancy. The important thing to note is when you are looking through the website and it says single, that could be a single inside of a bedroom. So if it says double, that means you are sharing the bedroom with a roommate. So pay attention to what your occupancy preference is, so that when we get to your application, we'll be able to offer you according to your preference. Here's the website for applying for North District. They have space left. They have 2 bedroom, 2 baths. This is the option that has a double occupancy in a room. But if you're coming and know someone that you'd like to share the room with, or they have a roommate matching search where you can search for a roommate, which is really nice, and get to know someone and then decide, hey, I'd like to room with you. And you can be in that style of apartment with somebody that you're already getting to know. Next slide. Okay, our off-campus housing. You would go to the link here, offcampushousing.ucr.edu. You do need your credentials to log into this because it's only for current students to be able to use these listings. It will tell you about local apartments and also rooms in houses or house listings. So housing options and how to decide. When you go to the website, look through and really pay attention to the type of housing, whether it's double or single, or if you're looking for residence halls versus apartments. If you're not looking to make your own meals, the residence halls offers a dining plan, which is really great. We have wonderful residential restaurants. Glasgow just opened up, and they've been serving to-go meals, but we'll be very excited this fall to be able to open and have students come into our new 2-story residential restaurant. The distance to campus, how far do you want to walk to campus? Everything is within walking distance. It's just a matter of how fast you walk, but everything is very close, and you'll be able to walk to campus quickly from our on-campus housing. If you're looking off campus, please pay attention to how far away you might be. You will be able to use your R card to ride the transportation here, like the RTA, to get you around Riverside. But just pay attention to that distance to and from campus, because that just adds to your commute. Rent and other financial obligations. You want to really pay attention to how much the rent is going to be, and all of your books and what you're going to need for tuition. Just make sure you list everything out and that you're really paying attention to how much that off-campus housing might cost you, or even on-campus housing. Our rates page is available so that you can decide what your preference is and stay near your budget. Facilities and services provided. When you're thinking about the different types of housing, you want to take note of the amenities that are provided, what comes with your space. Do you need a dining plan because you're not interested in cooking meals? You know you're going to be studying a lot, different things like that. The furniture, you want to look at the different types of housing also to see if it's furnished or unfurnished. I know a lot of students get here and their apartment isn't furnished, and then they're scrambling to get things. We don't want you to have to do that, so pay attention to whether or not the space that you are going to be renting already has furniture. Look at the application deadlines. We are always accepting applications. We're accepting applications now. If you go on to the website, you can apply for a campus apartment, or you can put in a residence hall contract. If you are looking to do the residence hall contract, I would do it sooner than later, as we're going to start roommate selection on the 22nd of June, which is next week. We'd like you to partake in that if you're interested in living in the residence halls. It's a great way for you to start meeting people. It's kind of like a match.com. The system will take your preferences and tell you these students meet 97% or 87% of a match with you. So it gives you options, and you're able to send that person a message and say, hey, let's chat a little bit so we can get to know each other. And then you say, oh, okay, no, I'm not really interested in that person. I want to talk to this person over here. So it's very convenient, and our wait lists for changing rooms changed dramatically. It went from 300 students to 37. And then last year, we only had 12 that wanted to change their rooms. So it's working very nicely for our students to be able to get to know each other before they get here and select their rooms. Make sure that you really pay attention to your contracts, especially if you're doing something off campus. We want you to read through those and see what your obligations are, especially coming to the US. You want to make sure that should anything like the pandemic happen, which is very unexpected, but a lot of our students were having trouble getting out of those leases that they had signed. We're a little bit more lenient on campus and understanding for our students. So you want to make sure you read through those completely. And if you have questions, call that landlord or call that office that's asking you to sign that and ask all your questions before you sign. Know your lease contract start and end date. You want to pay attention to any effective dates that are listed on your lease agreement, because if you need to be here earlier, you may not be able to get into your apartment earlier. We do try to work with you because we know you have an orientation that starts in early September, and we want to make sure that you're here and in place. So if you need to come early, if you've signed an apartment contract with us, or you have signed a residence hall contract, let us know that your flight is coming in early so that we can work with you to have that space ready for you. We don't want you to be stranded or have to pay extra hotel fees when we can help you, okay? Please also be aware of any potential scams. It's very important that you thoroughly check out the off-campus agreements that you may be signing. We want to make sure that you are safe when you're looking for housing. So please use our portal if you're looking for off-campus housing, or if you have any questions, you can always call us here at the housing office and we'd be glad to try to answer some questions for you, okay? Next slide, please, Lisa. Okay, and here we are at our pre-submitted questions. I don't know, Kelly, do you want to read these and then I answer them, or you just want me to go through them?
You can go ahead and go through them if you'd like, Emily.
Okay. Thank you, Kelly. The first one we have here, what should I do if I haven't got campus housing prior to the day of my flight? When is the deadline for campus housing confirmation? Is there any temporary housing for exchange students at UCR who don't have any place to stay when arriving in California? Okay, there's a lot of questions there. If you don't have housing prior to your flight, I would say you may need to stay in a hotel. We do have a list of places that we normally work with. I know, Renicia, if you can put IV there, the International Village, if you can put their website in the Q&A so that everybody can see that. They do short-term housing, so you may be able to sign a short-term lease with them while you are looking for permanent housing, or you might decide that International Village is the place for you to stay. We typically had some apartments there and have always worked closely with International Village. You'll even see that they have UCR in their website. This year, however, we since we're opening North District, we didn't need any extra spaces, but they are very accommodating and wonderful there. So you might be able to get some short-term housing there. The deadline for campus housing, we really don't have a deadline. We are always accepting applications. People are always changing their minds and we may have cancellations. So I can't guarantee that you would get housing if you have a later date, but we always try our best to look through for international students because we know that you might not have another option. Thank you for putting that there, Renicia. Let's see. I hope I answered that question. If you have any further questions or you want more information on that, please just give us a call. And Renicia will put our phone number in the chat, or you can email us at housinginfo@ucr.edu. Okay, number 2, is it too late to apply for the residence halls? No, it is not too late. You can apply and we'd be happy to have you. Can I still apply for campus apartments? You can apply for campus apartments. However, I want to let you know that a lot of our students return and they renew their contracts. So we have a small pool of apartments to work from. So there have been students who stay with us on campus all 4 years, and then they apply for graduate school and they stay a little bit longer. So it just depends on the pool that we have left. You can get immediate leasing done with North District, but we process our campus apartments, and our res halls are given priority by the completion date. So if you're a later date, you might not hear from us for a while. Will UCR provide transit accommodation for students for short periods till the time they manage off-campus accommodation? We typically run a summer program where we can do this, but because of COVID, we have not had this for last year or this year. Like I said, I would try International Village if you need that short-term housing while you're looking for an accommodation. Number 5, the housing contracts with the housing service of UCR will be starting on September 17th. And the accommodation date, it's on the 21st. However, I am planning to travel between September 6th through the 10th. The UCR has some place for receiving us days before the housing contract starts. You are correct. Taking into account the date when UCR starts on September 13th, or do you have any suggestions? Yes, we are very aware that you have an orientation on September 13th. If you are coming before our official move-in date, which is September 17th for campus apartments, if you're coming before that date, you're coming 6th through the 10th, let us know. Send us an email at housinginfo@ucr.edu so that with your information, your student ID, your full name, so that we can assist you with your contract. It sounds like we need to shift your dates for you to accommodate your early arrival. Are there any other questions?
There are some in the Q&A box.
Okay, let's see. Is that one for me? How does early arrival work?
Yes.
Okay. What we'll need from you is when you're arriving, there may be opportunity for us to place you in a temporary spot until your apartment or residence hall room is ready, depending on how early you need to come. It's very important for you to communicate with us as soon as possible. As soon as you have your flights and everything solidified, it would be great for us to hear from you so that we can work with you as best we can. Is there a shuttle service to the campus for off-campus residents? There were some services. It was called Point to Point, I believe. I'm not sure. I would look at the Transportation Services website to see if those will be running. They have not been running during this time of COVID. But I am sure that with a full campus and everything opening back up, there's a good possibility that these shuttles may be running again. And like I said, your R card you can use for the public transportation, the buses, the RTA, you can do a lot of different transfers, so you should be fine.
Emily,
Mhm.
just a few things with regards to that. We'll have more information for you about that and another pre-arrival webinar that we're going to have closer to the time that you plan to arrive at UCR with more updated information. It used to be that you could ride the buses with your UCR card. You would just show it and it would be for free. But they don't do that anymore. Instead, Transportation and Parking Services will have an app that you can download, and you can use that app to ride the buses around to different places. So I just kind of wanted to throw that out there.
That's great. Thank you, Kelly. Okay, the next one I see are, what are the closest local banks to UCR?
Emily, you don't have to answer those questions,
not
just
me.
the housing related ones. Yeah.
Regarding North District, I'm unable to complete my application as I am required to have a grantor. And this is a bit confusing considering that I am coming to America alone. Can you email me directly so that I can get your information to the manager there? My email is my first name, emily.mccoy@ucr.edu. I would like to be able to help you and get your information to the manager there.
All right. Thank you, Emily.
Mm-hmm.
All right. I noticed that Danielle is here. Danielle, did you want to say anything about health insurance? We had a few questions earlier about how much the cost for health insurance is and whether or not how the procedure for enrolling dependents, I believe.
Okay, sure. So I do have the pricing is up on the website. I can pull that up real quick. It is up to date. We just updated it all last week. So for the G-SHIP, let me move it over here so I'm looking at the camera. For the G-SHIP insurance for the graduates, per quarter for the medical, dental, and vision will be $1,321.27. And again, that's per quarter, but it is only 3 quarters because spring and summer are combined together. And then for the undergraduate, the price per quarter for the same medical, dental, and vision is $589.26. And the other pricing on the website is included in the grid. It goes with the undergraduate and spouse or dependent children. The prices are all listed there.
Okay, great. Could you put the link in the chat for everyone when you have a moment, Danielle?
Yes.
So they can all access that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm copying and pasting as we speak.
Thank you so much.
Mm-hmm. Oh, actually, I did it to the private, so let me do that. There we go. And then on the same link, if you use that link, there is a section. You'll see it's highlighted in bold with a hyperlink that says complete this form for all qualifying event enrollment. So you'll use that for the life events like marriage, divorce, newborns, etc. So that will help you add others as well. But the website has all the links that you'll need to go ahead and get you and your family signed up. And just a reminder that the insurance, every student is automatically enrolled in the insurance. So if you choose to not have this plan and you have a qualifying plan, then you want to make sure that you waive out of the insurance.
Thank you, Danielle. Do you want to go to the next slide, Lisa? I think we answered most of these about health insurance. So.
And can I just say, I'm sorry, I have one more thing to say about the insurance. If you do have the UC SHIP insurance and you are seeking services outside of student health services, you must have a referral if the practicing provider is less than 50 miles radius. So if you are living on campus and you want to go to UCR Health Cardiology, that's fine, but you will need to see a student health services provider so that way you can get that referral. So anything less than 50 miles from campus, you will need a referral.
Okay, so it's important for them to communicate with health services so that they can get referrals before they access the care
Yes, correct.
within 50 miles of campus. Okay,
Mhm.
great. Thank you. That's wonderful. All right, thank you, Danielle.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Mhm.
All right, I think the next section is me. So before we dive into immigration information, I just wanted to plug in a little reminder about the admissions offices. We don't have any representatives from admissions here today, but just a reminder, any questions about your transcripts, what transcripts you need to submit, if they've been received, which credits are transferring, test scores, admissions deferrals, those types of questions should be asked directly to the admissions offices. They are the ones that are receiving those documents and processing those documents. So ISS does not have access to that information, and we wouldn't be able to assist you with those types of questions. So just a reminder, please contact the admissions offices. And again, if you're mailing your transcripts, do send them to the admissions offices. Don't send them to ISS. Okay, moving on to the fun immigration stuff. So I'd like to start with a common question that we've been getting a lot over the past year. Can I stay in my home country and study? A lot of students are not able to get visas or have not been able to get visas so far. Some students would just feel more comfortable to stay at home with their family or based on the current health situation in their country. And this was a pretty easy question to answer last year when almost all of our courses were moved remotely. This year, it's a little bit more complicated. So for fall 2021, UCR is planning majority in-person courses, but there may be some remote and some dual mode options available. However, there's no standard process for this. So this is dependent on each particular school and each particular program as to which courses they will be offering remotely. So if you're wondering if you're able to take a whole quarter remotely, you would need to contact your academic program to find out if the courses that you need to take would have that option. And just a reminder, there are some students in certain locations that are not able to take online courses. For example, Iran is one of those cases. So if you are unable to come to the US to start your program, then you would likely need to defer your admission. And just to note, if you don't enter the US to begin your program as a new student, we can't activate your CVIS record. So in order to have your F1 status and have an active CVIS record and I-20, you need to enter the United States. So once you enter the US, you have F1 status. And this is important later down the line when you're looking at eligibility for work authorization, internships. This will depend on how long you've been an active F1 student. So that's just something to keep in mind as well if you're deciding whether or not you could stay home or come to the US for fall. So moving on, if you are coming as an F1 or J1 student, please get your immigration document from UCR. If you're a J1 student, you should contact the ISS office directly and Kelly will be processing that for you. If you are an F1 student, you will be working with me. So how do you get your I-20? Hopefully most of you have your I-20 so far. If you don't, please apply as soon as possible. Even if you're already in the United States studying at another school in F1 status, you still need to apply for this I-20 and have your CVIS record transferred to UCR. So if you haven't received the I-20 email, I get a lot of questions. How do I apply for the I-20? Where's the email? It is sent to you for undergraduate students. The link for the I-20 application forms has been sent out as early as February. So make sure that you're checking the email address on file for your admissions application. For graduate students, that is sent to you typically within a couple days after you accept the offer. And as a reminder, these links are specific to you as a student. So if you try to forward a link to another student, it will have all of your information pre-filled and that person won't be able to fill it up. So you do need to have a unique link that was generated specifically with your student information. If you're still not finding that email, I think for undergraduates, another email reminder went out today. If you can't find that email, please contact me and we will work to make sure that that link gets to you. So after all that, once you have your I-20, if you are a new student, you have an initial I-20, a new CVIS number, you will need to pay that CVIS fee. When do you need to pay the CVIS fee? If you're applying for a visa, you should apply before your visa appointment. If you're a student that has a new CVIS number, but you have a previous F1 visa that's still valid from another school, then you'll need to pay the CVIS fee prior to arriving to the US. Next, this is the hard part, scheduling your visa interview. We know that there are a lot of closures, a lot of limited appointments for visa appointments right now, and these are always changing. Consulates are independently operating, so there's no uniform date that all locations would be back to full capacity. So you really need to keep checking your individual embassy or consulate that you plan to apply at. We get some questions about expediting as well. Generally, expediting needs to be done if you're within 30 to 60 days of your program, but given the backlog right now, we don't know how much opportunity for expediting there will be. If you are already inside of the United States, you need to have your CVIS record transferred to UCR, get your UCR I-20, and you are good to go for now. So what to bring to your visa interview? The next slide, please. Bring your admissions letter, bring your I-20, DS 2019, bring your bank documents that you've submitted for the I-20 or DS 2019, bring the receipt that you've paid the CVIS fee, bring your passport photo, and then any other items that are required depending on your situation. I know that we may have some students in this webinar who have been studying at UCR for the past couple quarters or the past year, but have been studying remotely and are still working on getting that visa interview. So those students may also want to consider bringing a copy of their transcripts as well, just to show that they are currently enrolled at UCR. Again, the current COVID guidance that's still in effect. If you are a new student entering the United States with an initial I-20, you do need to be enrolled in at least one hybrid or in-person course. So you won't be able to enter the US and take all online courses inside of the US. Again, with most courses being offered in person, it shouldn't be too much of a problem for students to find that in-person option. So I would like to pass it over to Michael to talk a little bit about the national interest exception developments.
Thank you, Jesse. So here's another acronym, an NIE. So that means National Interest Exception. So to give you a little background to this, last year, the US government decided that they were going to restrict travel from people who were in a certain area until they went to an area that was considered safer for 2 weeks, and then they would be able to enter the United States. This was the travel restriction that was imposed. Earlier this year, Department of State agreed that it's important for our students to get here. So if you are applying or if you are going to enter the United States on an F1 visa, then you are eligible for a national interest exception, which means that that requirement to be somewhere else for 2 weeks before entering the United States is waived. Now, if you're outside the US and you already have a visa, then there's no problems. You don't need to go to the embassy to get any kind of special paperwork, but you have to remember that your program start date on your I-20 can't be any sooner than 1 August. And you cannot enter the United States any earlier than 30 days prior to your program start date. For those students who do not have a visa, your national interest waiver will be processed when you go for your visa interview for F1. And then again, the same rules. Your program start date has to be 1 August or later, and you cannot enter the United States any earlier than 30 days before your program start date. Okay? Good, thank you.
Okay, to wrap up the immigration section, I just want to address a couple other common questions that we've been getting. The first one is, if I received an I-20 in fall 2020 of last year or in winter 2021, can I use it to enter for fall 2021 quarter? So this may be the case for a lot of students who have deferred their admission, or students that received an I-20 last fall or winter and then decided to start their program remotely. If you are going to enter the United States for your first time on that I-20 record, it should reflect the start date of the term that you are entering. So if you try to enter for this fall and it's your first entry, you've never entered the country before with that I-20 and you have an older start date, that will be problematic. And we've been sending out these reminder emails if you are a student that started remotely and plan to enter the US for your first time fall 2021. There is a new form that you can submit to update that I-20. Since it's a new academic school year, you do need to show new finances to update that. Another question we get, especially with the uncertainty of visa processing, is as a new student, can I enter in the middle of the quarter? Or can I start my program remotely and then switch to in-person in the middle of the quarter? The answer for immigration purposes is no. If you're arriving a little late, that may be okay, but there is a certain period of time where we need to register your record. So when you arrive to the US and you check in, you say, hey, I'm here, I'm a new student, here's where I'm living. That is to activate your record and see this. There is a specific amount of time that we have to do that. If you're not registered or deferred by that amount of time, then your I-20 record would be canceled. So we do recommend, if you don't feel like you'll be able to make it for the start of the quarter or very close to the start of the quarter, you may want to talk to your department about starting remotely, or if you're a brand new student, possibly communicating with the admissions office and your department to ask about admission deferral. The last question, can I take a gap year or a quarter? That is more a question for the admission offices. If you decide to if you start studying and you decide to take a quarter or 2 quarters off, then you are in a status where you can return. But if you are planning on taking an entire year, you will most likely need to reapply for admission at UCR. But if you are considering wanting to take some time off before starting, please contact the admissions offices. Okay, passing it to Jenny.
All right. So we're gonna talk about when to arrive. So you can enter the United States up to 30 days before the start date on your I-20 or TS 2019 with your valid visa. So if you look at the corner of this slide, that you will see a little part of the I-20. I believe it's in the first page of your I-20. And if you look at that one, it says the earliest admission date. In other words, it's earliest date you can enter the United States. For example, for this case, it's August 14, 2021. So you have that information in your I-20, so you can pay attention to that part if you wonder when you can enter. But in general, you can just remember that 30 days prior to your start date of your the program on your I-20, that's the date you can enter as the earliest. All right, so and next is keep in mind the NIE requirements and travel advisories that Michael explained in earlier slide. So I'm gonna skip that one. So you do need to present your negative viral COVID-19 test within the 3 days of boarding your flight to the US. So you need to make arrangement to get this test. So you have that one. And you will provide more details about arrival to the US in the next pre-arrival webinar. For on-campus residents who move in, we have a housing experts in this webinar, so they already talked about it. If you have more questions, you can definitely contact to that email address. I think we all covered about the on-campus apartment and off-campus moving information.
Okay, it looks like Kelly got cut off. So we're going to try and get her back in the Zoom room. Just hold on 1 minute, please. Okay, so I'm going to ask the team to kind of help me with this. We'll go on to the next slide while we're waiting for Kelly to come back into the room. So orientation registration. Oh, Kelly's back. Great. Welcome back.
Thank you. Sorry about that. Orientation. So we're looking forward to welcoming all of you to orientation. Those of you who will be joining us as undergraduate first year freshmen at UCR will register for international student orientation if you haven't already done so. And for Highlander orientation for freshmen, which is where you will get the entire UCR undergraduate orientation experience, and you will also meet with your academic advisors and enroll for your classes during that time. Undergraduate transfer students, you will do the exact same thing, and graduate students and EAP exchange students will just register for the international student orientation. Graduate students, you may also have departmental orientations and a graduate division orientation that you'll attend as well. So there are 2 emails on there, and you can contact us at internationalstudents@ucr.edu with regards to international student orientation questions. And you can also contact us at Highlander orientation at ucr.edu for those of you who have questions about the Highlander orientation, which is for undergraduate freshmen and undergraduate transfer students transferring into UCR from other colleges and universities. Next slide, please. So we're going to do a lot of fun things during international student orientation, in addition to having another pre-arrival webinar as we get closer to your arrival in the United States. Some of the informational sessions that we'll be having will relate to visa regulations and what you can and can't do while you're in, for example, F&J status. We'll talk about safety, being successful as an undergraduate and graduate student. There'll be some health and wellness information as well. And then we'll have a lot of interactive sessions as well, such as job talk, talking about working in the United States, what you can and can't do, and what your opportunities are there. Networking, you'll have opportunities to meet with other students and other peers. We'll have a special session for our EAP Reciprocity Exchange students, and a session on survival skills, tips for living on a student budget. and a special session for those of you who've already started with us remotely outside of the United States and are coming to the US. All these sessions and more will address during International Student Orientation. And please keep an eye on your email inbox, and we'll be sending you information, about those sessions and specifics as we get closer to the orientation dates. It's really a lot of fun, and we can't wait to welcome you all here. All of the sessions at this time are going to be online or via Zoom. There will be some learning modules that you'll go through and some Zoom sessions. As we get closer to the fall quarter, we'll see whether or not we will be allowed to have any in-person sessions or activities as well, maybe one or two. We can't wait to see all of you, and we're really excited for you to come. All right. Next slide. All right.
All right. Thank you, Kelly. I'm going to read some of these questions, and if the staff can answer them, feel free to unmute yourselves and answer them. We have first question. As a PhD student with funding offered, how should I pay and get paid?
That's an interesting question. I think you should be in contact with your department as a PhD student who's had funding offered, and your department will work with you and the individual who's responsible for that in the graduate division to let you know how exactly you will be getting paid once you arrive here at UCR. And with regards to payment, there's information on the UCR Student Business Services and Registrar's website in terms of how to pay. Jenny has posted one of the links in the chat, so you can go there. There's a variety of payment options to pay your tuition and fees while you're here at UCR. Those of you who are EAP Reciprocity Exchange students in this webinar, please contact me directly if you have questions about what you need to pay and what you don't need to pay. And my email, you should all have it, but it's Kelly, Kelly .Hinosawa, HINOSAWA @ucr.edu.
Thank you, Kelly. Question 2, how can we apply for on-campus part-time jobs? I can go ahead and answer this question. So if you want to apply for part-time jobs working on campus, international students can do that by going to our website, handshake.edu. You can, over there, you look for jobs and apply and interview and work on campus. Is there anything you guys want to add on this question?
I'll just add that, if you're coming to the US as an F1 student, you're eligible to work on campus for 20 hours per week or more. And the same if you're a J student, you can work on campus for, 20 hours per week or less, not more. My apologies. If you're an F1 student during the academic year, you can work 20 hours or less on campus during the academic year, full-time during summers or breaks. Same with the J1 students. The only difference is if you're coming as a J1, you just have to contact me and we have to give you pre-approval ahead of time because we have to put that information in what we've been calling SEVIS, S-E-V-I-S, or the Student and Exchange Visitor Information System, which is basically the database that we generate those I-20 and DS 2019s from.
Okay. Question 3, I want to know if there is a chance of deferring the entrance semester 1 quarter in case of visa delays. If there is, how is it done?
I will take this one. So for this question, I would refer you back to the admissions offices. For undergraduate students, students that are eligible for deferral should have already received the deferral option email from the admissions office. If you did not get that email and you'd like to know if you're eligible to defer for a quarter, please contact the undergraduate admissions office directly. For graduate admissions, we'd prefer that you check with your program first. So depending on the structure of your graduate program, some programs may not have an option to start in winter or spring. They may only have a fall start. So for graduate students, if you feel that you may need to defer your admission, please start with your academic department and they will work with the graduate admissions office.
Thank you, Jessie. Question 4, my visa shows my undergraduate school's name. Can I come to the US with a I-20 from UCR and visa shows another school?
You want me to take that one?
Sure.
Sure, okay. The answer is a visa is a visa is a visa. So if you have a valid visa, when it was originally issued, it may have been notated with the school you were going to at that time. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't, but that doesn't matter. As long as it's valid and you have an appropriately valid I-20 to enter the US, your visa will be fine.
Thank you, Michael. Question 5, is there a shuttle service transportation service provided by UCR to pick up international students from LAX?
I'll go ahead and answer that question. No, there isn't a transportation service provided by UCR to pick up international students from LAX. However, there are different ways to get here from LAX, and some of that information you can find on our website. Jesse, if you could go ahead and put that in the chat. And there are different types of services that you can use to get here. So we'll be addressing that in future pre-arrival webinars as well. Does anyone else have anything to add? Okay. Lisa, you can go to the next question.
All right, question 6, what are the nearest bank? Where are the nearest bank? Do any of you guys can help us out?
I believe there is a bank named Chase, C-H-A-S-E. I'll put that in here in the University Village. It's from the outside of the University Village. You can see the bank named Chase with the blue mark. It's one of the major banks in the United States and is very safe and stable. So I kind of recommend this place if you are looking for anything like very close to the campus. If there is any other bank's name, then you guys feel free to share with the students, please.
There's also a Bank of America. It really depends on where you're going to live. There's a Bank of America, and there's also Wells Fargo. For those of you who are employed on campus and our graduate students, you'll also be able to work with maybe Schools First Credit Union, which has an office in University Village, which is fairly close to campus. And a lot of these banks that we're mentioning will also have ATMs available on campus that you can access.
Thank you, Kelly.
Thank you, Kelly Jenny. Moving on, question 7. If needed to, how can we contact ISS during the summer?
I'll do that one. I would love to say that we take holiday during the summer and we're closed, but we're absolutely not. The university is open the entire year through. So we're working there in the summer. So you can contact us during the summer the same way you can contact us now and in the future. Again, as we're working remotely, the best way to contact us is through email. Go to internationalstudents@ucr.edu. That's absolutely the best way to contact us. And someone will get back to you very quickly and try and help you with that. So we're open, we're ready for business. If you have questions, if you're confused about anything, contact us and we'll be happy to help you. And I might as well just go ahead and do the next one, right?
That'll be perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. I have a specific personal request. Whom should I address this to? Well, of course, it depends on the nature of your personal request. And we certainly do value your privacy and confidentiality. So if you do have something that you'd like to talk that's more of a personal issue, you can certainly send an email to internationalstudents@ucr.edu. We can set up a time to talk with you if you feel comfortable about sharing or giving us some idea where it is. If it's something that we can help you with, we will. If it would be appropriate to direct you to another part of the university, another unit here that might be able to assist you, we can do that too. But we're here, we're your home when you come here, we're your family. So feel free to come see us and we'll try and help you any way we can.
Thank you, Michael. Question 9, will the classes be online or offline?
I think we kind of already talked about this earlier in the presentation, but UCR is planning to have most courses in person. So if you would like to know whether or not your courses will be online or in a hybrid fashion or in person, please contact your academic department to find out how the specific courses that you will need to take will be offered. So I think that kind of answers questions 9 and 10.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Jessie. Question 11, can I start attending UCR from September, fall 2021 on my current H4 visa status until my change of status to F1 visa is approved?
As an H4, you can definitely go to school. There's not a problem with that at all. The only thing that I would let you know is that, you know, an H4 status, generally you can't work. So if you have plans to be a graduate student teaching assistant or graduate student researcher for the fall, then that might be something which would impact you. If you haven't yet connected with us, I recommend that you do. You send an email to internationalstudents@ucr.edu and schedule a time to meet with an international student advisor so that we can talk to you about all the ins and outs of the change of status and how that might impact you.
May I add something, Kelly?
Absolutely.
Thank you. So one of the big differences between H4 and F1 is that F1 has a full-time registration requirement. H4 does not. So that means as an H4, you can take one course or two courses or three courses or no courses. You know, there's no status violation there. The moment you become F1, you have to be registered for 12 units per term. And that can sometimes be a problem if your change of status goes into effect in the middle of a term. So what Kelly suggested is the best thing to do. You want to make sure that you contact us, because if you register for fewer than 12 credits and then your F1 gets approved, it may be too late for you to register for the additional credits to get you back up to 12. So it's a little bit of a timing issue there, but we're happy to help you.
And just to throw out there as well, usually your department, if you're a graduate student or an undergraduate student, usually they'll be expecting you to enroll for a full course load. So that's something we can talk about as well when we meet with you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you, Kelly. Moving on, question 12. How should we approach the supervisor/professor for the students interested in a master's thesis course? And what procedure should we follow? Thank you.
So this is an interesting question, and I'm going to assume that this is a student who's been admitted to a master's degree at UCR or a student who remote started a master's degree at UCR and wants to learn more about a thesis option in their program. Some master's programs might have a project option or a thesis option or a comprehensive exam option. And for that information, you should really be in close contact with your graduate department. Each graduate department has a graduate student affairs officer, which can help you connect with the right individuals within your department. And if you're unsure, who to approach, feel free to email us at internationalstudents@ucr.edu and we can point you in the right direction.
Thank you, Kelly. So we answer all the pre-submitted questions that's on the screen. I'm going to go to our question and answer box to answer some of the questions that's still on there. If those questions that have already answered, I'm going to excuse them and move to the next one. So the very first question I have on the chat box, I finished the application of a new I-20, but I did not receive a confirmation email. Should I redo the application?
All right, so if you submitted your I-20 form, you should automatically receive a confirmation email. The easiest way to check and see if it was submitted or not is to see if you can go back into that link and fill out the form again. Once you submit the form, that link will no longer be valid. So if you are able to get back into the form and edit the information, that means that it was not submitted correctly the first time. So try it again.
Thank you, Jessie. Next question, I also see Jenny's typing in the answer. We'll just answer it live. Oh.
Oops, sorry. I didn't know you just get disappeared.
Yeah, same here. Bear with us. We're fairly new at this function. But I think the question was, can we get the slides after this presentation? Yes, you will be getting the slides after the presentation. And this webinar is also recorded. Next question I have, I found in my account that the UCR needs a bank statement to prove that I can pay for tuition. What is the amount of the required bank statement? When is the deadline and where to submit?
All right, I think we went over this earlier as well. So you are emailed a I-20 application form. That's the title for undergraduates. For graduate students, it says submit your graduate I-20 form. That is where you will provide us the information for the I-20 along with your bank statement. Inside of that form, it will tell you the amount that you need to show in funding based on your program. So for all undergraduate programs, it's a little over $62,000. For master's and PhD programs, it does vary depending on the program that you're in. So there is a chart within the I-20 form for that.
Thank you, Jessie. Next question. I'm a transfer-in student and already did the placement test before. Do I still need to take it again?
Which placement test are you referring to? I think if you've already completed the placement tests in May for the analytical writing placement exam, then no, you don't have to take it again. If you've completed it sometime way in the past, what I recommend you do is contact the contacts on the screen in the AW Analytical Writing Placement Exam or the Math Advisory Exam and your academic advisor, and they will let you know whether or not you have to take the test.
Thank you, Kelly. The next question, I have Michael here wants to answer it live. What are the closest local banks to UCR?
Well, let me say this. I came to Riverside last July, and we have been working remotely and staying home for the most part, so I don't know Riverside at all. But what I did before I moved here was I did a Google search, and you can just type in banks in Riverside, and it'll give you a listing of the various kinds of banks. I would recommend, there are some banks that are very friendly and happy to assist international students. There are some banks that are a little more fussy. They want certain types of information that you may or may not have. But I would take a look at the website of any bank you think you're interested in, and look at the fees. In this country, a lot of bank accounts charge fees. So if you don't want to pay fees, sometimes you have to deposit a huge amount of money. And I think earlier we talked about Chase and Bank of America. And those are the kinds of banks where sometimes you have to keep a minimum of $5,000 or something if you want to avoid the fees. I went to the school's first credit union, which is, I don't really know, I'm not a financial person, so I don't understand the difference between a credit union and a bank. It functions like a bank, but I was able to avoid having to pay any fees, which is important to me. But certainly once you get here, talk to the US students, talk to your roommates, talk to anybody you come to. They can give you information about what's good around here. And certainly come talk to us.
Thank you, Michael. Next question, I see Jenny wants to answer this question live. When do I need to arrive at the latest date?
Yes, we talked about the earliest date is 30 days prior to your start date of your program on your I-20, but the latest will be before the first day of your quarter start. So how do you know? It's on your I-20, so it's a start date of the program. It's in your I-20 on the first page. So it's always better to be arrived here before you start your program.
Great, thank you, Jenny. Next question. Hello, so I can't choose my classes when doing the pre-orientation module because I have holds from the RWeb, like health insurance and etc. So do I need to finish all of my holds so I can be able to choose my classes?
I can answer to the RWeb holds if they're for health insurance. Actually, it's not for health insurance. It is for your immunization compliance. This is Deb Sellis. And so you would need to reach out to us and send us a secure message in your portal so that we can work with you to release and give you an extension so that you can go back to and do your pre-orientation module. We don't want to hold you from that. So we will work with you, but you have to send us a message and let us know what's going on so that we can release your holds for you temporarily while you work on that.
Thank you, Deborah. Sorry, I kind of lost track. I think the next question I have that's displayed is, what is the deadline for deferring our admission in case we cannot get a visa appointment?
Okay, I can talk about this. So I was just pulling up the information here. So it looks like for undergraduates, the advertised deadline is July 31st. For graduate students, there are a couple of different deadlines. Generally, students in the business programs will have an earlier deadline that's listed as June 28th. For most other programs, it's listed as August 9th. But again, this is really up to the admissions office, depending on the situation for a lot of our students. They're generally pretty willing to accommodate if a student finds out it'd be very late that they're not able to get a visa appointment. or a visa appointment is canceled for some reason, generally the admissions offices will work with you if there is an urgent case past those deadlines.
Thank you, Jessie. I think the next question is for you as well. How can we know if we have successfully sent our transcript to the office?
So again, as we mentioned earlier, you would need to contact the admissions office. I believe that at least undergraduate students are able to see the status of their document within their student portal. I'm not aware of the current processing time for admissions office. Obviously, since the deadline is coming up quickly, they are receiving a lot of transcript requests to process. I believe that if your transcript is sent electronically, it will be a little bit quicker for them to get that in the system for you. If you do have any specific questions about your transcript, please contact the undergraduate admissions office or the graduate admissions office.
Thank you, Jessie. Next question, could you please post the email ID of academic advisor for a master in computer science? Does someone have that email address that could be typed in here?
I think if you're in computer science, right, the graduate student program coordinator in computer science is Vanda Yamaguchi. And you can connect with Vanda if you're admitted to computer science, and she will help connect you with who you need to connect with. So it's Vanda, VANDA .Yamaguchi, YAMAGUCHI @UCR.edu.
Thank you. Next question, how would I know how to pick courses for my fall semester and what are the courses offered? What is the procedure of picking and dropping subjects?
This is the question for the academic advisors or for the department advisors who knows the best for enrollment classes. So we definitely refer you guys to contact your academic advisor or the department.
Thank you, Jenny.
So Lisa, may I just interrupt? I think we can stop sharing the screen now so everyone can see us a little bit better instead of these little boxes.
Okay.
Great, thank you.
All right. Resuming back to our chat box of questions, the next question we have, why does the major on my I-20 state management science when my program is MBA?
I got this one. So on your I-20, you'll see that there's a little 6-digit code after the major name. So this code is, this is a CIP code. This is from a national database of the code that's assigned to your specific major at UCR. So since these codes are part of a national database, the code that's corresponding to your major at UCR, the code that we need to use for CVIS, may not match the name of your major at UCR. In some cases, it sounds quite different, but management science is the correct code for MBA. That code was updated recently since our MBA program became STEM certified. So based on having that specific CIP code, you do qualify for STEM after your program.
Thank you, Jessie. Next question. I am on the H4 visa at present and have my change of status to F1 in process under USCIS. If I join the fall semester on H4 and my status gets approved to F1 mid-semester, when can I change my visa status to F1 in UCR official records?
I didn't quite get that one, Lisa. Can you repeat it?
It's the same question with the H4. I
Oh,
am on
okay,
H4,
okay.
want to change my status to F1.
Oh, okay. So I
We
think
answered it earlier.
we need to address that. Yeah. Yeah. You have any questions about change of status, just feel free to email international students at ucr.edu and set up a time to meet individually with an international student advisor.
And that's the best thing with change of status in general. Just a little bit of information for you. When your status changes from H4 to F1, it will change on a specific date. And you will get a new I-94, which is that entry card. It will be a paper one and not an electronic one, although you can pull the electronic one. So we'll take a look at those dates and we'll be able to advise you about that.
Thank you, Kelly. Thank you, Michael. I see that Kelly wants to answer this next question live. Why do we have a $40 fee for orientation despite the orientation being online? The orientation has never been a paid one before. Sad face.
Hi, there's always been a charge for orientation. For undergraduate, freshmen, and undergraduate transfer students, that charge, for international and Highlander orientation is included in one fee. Those of you who are graduate and EAP reciprocity students have the $40 orientation fee, and that's always been a fee that we charge for orientation. We do a lot of work behind the scenes, and we'll have a lot of different things coming up for you with regards to orientation. And all that money goes to everything that we're doing to get you ready here for orientation. So it's not a new fee, it's something that has been in place for quite a while. If anyone has anything else to add.
No, but I think the next question is also for you, Kelly. I already paid for the Highlander freshman orientation. Do I have to pay for the international orientation as well?
No, you pay one fee for Highlander freshman orientation if you're a first year freshman. You pay one fee for Highlander transfer orientation if you're a new incoming transfer student. The international student orientation fee is included within that fee. You don't have to pay an additional $40 fee for international student orientation.
Next question. What about the scope of on-campus for graduate students?
I'm not really sure what you mean by the scope of on-campus for graduate students. I recommend this person send us an email to internationalstudents@ucr.edu so that we can better understand the question and reply to you.
Thank you. Next question. If I got a TA or RA job on campus, will I be eligible for an in-state tuition fee?
Not. I think you will need to contact your academic department because your TA or RA job and what's included and what's not included will be specific to the department that you are hired for. If you are a PhD student, for example, there may be some fees that are covered and some times where you'll have a waiver of the non-resident tuition portion of your fee. But that's something that you should direct to your department and the graduate division, and they'll be able to better answer that for you.
I am on the L2 dependent on L1. Can I still get a on-campus job?
Well, please correct me if I'm wrong. I think for L2, the dependent of L1 needs to get a EAD card, which is the employment authorization card. So you may need to apply before you start working on the campus.
Thank you, Jenny. Is international student orientation self-paced or student need to attend it on time? Do we have any? Kelly, yes, go ahead.
Yeah, there will be some self-paced modules and there will be some live sessions. The live sessions that we host, if they can be recorded, they will be recorded and posted. If they're not able to be recorded because of the nature, like it's an interactive session or there's networking that you do in different breakout rooms and things like that, then those portions will not be recorded. So it'll be a combination of both. We recommend that you attend it when it's offered, if you can, because that would give you the best information at the best time, but we will record the orientations, of course.
Thank you, Kelly. Next question I have, I missed most of the part of the session. Sorry, I lost my place. Can I get the recording of the session? Just go ahead and answer this one. Yes, you will get a recording of the session. It will be emailed to you along with the slides. All right. Next question. I am a student currently put on hold for course registration until I submit my educational transcripts. My question is, when is the deadline for fall 2021 submitting the transcripts?
I can try to answer that. For graduate students, I haven't seen a specific deadline listed. Generally, there's a hold on your account and you're unable to register until those transcripts are provided. For undergraduate students, the official transcript deadline is coming up. That is July 1st.
Thank you. Thank you for excusing the question, answer question. I see Kelly wants to answer this question. I have attempted to go through the pre-orientation. However, the ARP web shows me that I have no registration ticket. How am I able to obtain the registration ticket?
This is a question that I recommend you direct if you're a new incoming transfer student or a new incoming freshman student to orientation at ucr.edu. The registrar's office releases registration tickets at certain times. And if you're a transfer student, your registration tickets have not been released yet. So you'll have to wait for those. I'm assuming you're a freshman because you're talking about the pre-orientation module. So please go ahead and email orientation@ucr.edu. If you're a UC-EAP reciprocity student, feel free to contact me directly. You should be getting, registration tickets shortly, and we'll talk about that separately.
Thank you. I see Deborah's typing the answer for this question. It says, hello, Deborah. Thank you for answering my question. So how can I send a message to the portal in order to release my holds?
I will go ahead and type this up, but I'll answer it live as well. And that is, you can always access your patient portal through our website at studenthealth.ucr.edu. On the main page up in the right-hand corner, there's a huge yellow button. It says Patient Portal. You're just going to go in there. You're going to use your UCR login ID, your net ID. That will get you into your patient portal. You go to messages. You're going to go to new message, and then you are going to drop down and choose immunization mandate staff. And then it already has your demographics already. It's just like an email. So that's all. We already have your student ID. We already know who you are because you've used your login. We just need to understand how we can help you. So just send the message and we will reply to you within the patient portal.
Thank you, Deborah. Next question I have, ideally, should we go for test uploading health immunization documents after obtaining visa or start completing such tests after July? Will it be too late?
Please start as soon as possible.
Nice and simple. What is the latest date to submit the degree certificate for graduate students? And does it have to be sealed in its original envelope?
I think we just answered a similar question. I'm not aware of a specific date. I would direct you to the post-admission letter that graduate students will receive shortly after being accepted to the program. It's a longer document, I think about 6 pages or so. That document will detail which transcripts you need to submit to the admissions office and then the details of how to submit them.
Thank you, Jesse. Oh, do you have something to add?
Lisa, it's 8:09, and this has really been a marathon session when we've been able to provide a lot of information. I know you have a lot of questions still, but we need to be respectful of the staff that are here and their time, and we want to thank them very much for coming out and talking to you. And we're really happy that we had this opportunity to talk to you. If we did not get to your question tonight, could you please send it, if it's an immigration question or I-20 question, that kind of thing, send it to internationalstudents@ucr.edu. If you have a question about vaccinations or health or any of these kinds of things, the email address is health@ucr.edu. And if you have questions about housing, please contact housing at housinginfo@ucr.edu. So please, if you remember nothing else from this session, remember those 3 important email addresses. That's a place where you can go and get a lot of the information that you need. So I want to thank everyone again for being here and for being so helpful. And I want to thank all the students that came. And I hope that it was helpful for you and that you're all excited about coming. We're excited to have you here. So we hope to see you, and hopefully in real life, we hope to see you come this fall. So thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you, guys. We look forward to seeing you soon.
Bye, guys.